Notorious.
Big it up, big it up.
Yep. Leave him up.
Yeah.
Here we go, go.
Yeah.
Here we go, go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and I am joined tonight by the co-host of this show, Level Up Lauren. Tonight, we're about to break down the best of pro wrestling for all the true casual fans. So whether you are listening on podcast networks or watching on YouTube, make sure to like and leave a comment on this week's episode. A little bit of housekeeping for this week. We are still shooting for November 1st as the launch of the official season 1 content for the Casual Wrestling Community page. So until then, expect a little bit of chaos. This show, sometimes we'll record on Thursdays, sometimes record on Fridays. As of November 1st, we'll find an official home for this show, an official night that this show will record. But for the next 2 weeks, expect a little bit of chaos as I'm testing, trying to get things in order. There's a lot that goes into building a season of content, building the graphics, building the intros, picking the music, trying to organize your schedule so that everything fits and you're able to commit to that schedule. So for the next 2 weeks, this show may bounce around a little bit. You may get it on Friday, you may get it on Thursday, you might get it on Wednesday if I can get to it early enough. But the show will record every week. It doesn't have a home as of right now. Like we said, we're going to be starting season 1 of the Casual Wrestling Community page content, which will include a daily news show that will break down all of the wrestling news from AEW, WWE, NXT, some of the more smaller news stories that we don't get to on this show. And that will air on YouTube live every Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It will have a hard out at 2 p.m. If we don't finish a news story, we'll pick it up the next day and continue to talk about it. And then I've been working around, and I like the way this is coming together, this WWE in review show that we're going to be doing. We're going to do 8 episodes to start off. I've got about 4 episodes. I've got the matches picked out for 4 episodes, and then I'm going to want people to suggest the other 4 matches so that I don't just get in my comfort zone and watch matches. Because when I started making my list, I noticed I'm going for definite matches that I like, and I want to sprinkle in a certain amount of matches that I wouldn't normally watch. And I already went back and rewatched one of the matches, and I have to say, already, in watching the match, some of the things I've said in the last couple weeks about CM Punk, I might have to walk back a little bit. He was a pretty big fucking deal, and that's all I'm going to say, because there'll be more said in that episode. All right, so let's get into the trending news this week. Right off the bat, man, the White Rabbit. Well, we don't know who the White Rabbit is still, but we do know that Bray Wyatt is back. Little confusion for me. Little bit of confusion for me as far as messaging goes and these riddles and these clues. So I need the way my brain works is I want to piece together. I want to go back and put these clues into context and go, this is why we got to where we are. And so we got Bray Wyatt at the end of Extreme Rules, but I still can't piece together what all these clues meant and why they were leading to Bray Wyatt and how that all comes, right? We got one that said Bel Air. We got one that had lyrics to Malachi Black. We got one that hinted at Gacy. And there's still time and this is still coming together, but so far I can't piece together the clues that we have with the moment that we got. Yeah. And the moment we got was really cool. But once again, Bray Wyatt's not the White Rabbit, obviously, correct? He's not going to be the White Rabbit. There was a White Rabbit character. So what is the significance? Was it just that worked? Or is there significance to who the White Rabbit is? Is there significance to who Abby the Witch is? Is it Alexa Bliss? I don't think so. Is it Liv Morgan? Liv Morgan was seen kind of doing the crazy thing after her match where she was sitting in the corner. There's so much to do. And so we watched SmackDown this last week. And there was a comfort to me when I turned on SmackDown. There was a comfort to me because I said, we're done. We don't have to play the look and find game anymore, which was fun for the moment, but I can relax. I can go back to watching wrestling and then there was a fucking QR code. And I saw it and it was almost, anxiety, panic rushed into me, and I'm like, oh, we're not done. We're still going to do this. We're still doing this. We know Bray Wyatt's back, but we got more QR codes and we got more of these little teases. And now my anxiety's through the fucking roof because you know what we were doing before? We were trying to figure out who one person was. There was one person, who's coming back, who's the White Rabbit, who are we chasing, what are these clues for? Now there's 5 fucking mysteries we're trying to figure out. There's 5 mysteries. We're trying to figure out who the fuck Ramblin' Rabbit is. We're trying to figure out who Mercy the Buzzard is. We're trying to figure out who Huskus the Pig is. I need to know who Abby the Witch is. All of a sudden, there's a character named The Fiend that used to be Bray Wyatt that now apparently has taken on a fucking life of its own. Yeah. So I went from... Your microphone's not on.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you. I'm talking to myself. But yeah, we went from having one mystery to now we have 5 mysteries we have to solve. It's like fucking Scooby-Doo.
Well, it's why they told us, like, the White Rabbit is somebody who you haven't even been talking about.
Yeah, oh, that fucking play on words that Triple H gave us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the White Rabbit's someone you're not talking about. No shit, because the White Rabbit's just a small piece of this big thing, and look, I love it. It's exciting. I just done figuring out fucking clues. I don't want to play this game anymore. I had anxiety trying to figure out the one. I'm not playing 5 more rounds of this shit. Like, we need to start SmackDown tonight. You need to start letting me know we know who these people are. Because I'm getting the feeling that, like, WWE's like, we got to fucking find 5 more people. I didn't know that this was going to hit like this, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, man, how do you feel about being a buzzard? How do you feel about being that character? No, I mean, I believe that the Wyatt 6 is a thing. This has been teased for a long time. This is exciting. This has all come together. This is, in reality, this is one of the biggest things we're going to get from the demise of Vince McMahon, right? These are the things that he almost stopped because they were bigger than what he believed. Vince McMahon had gotten to a point, he had done it so long where he thought wrestling had to be so dumbed down that it was just black and white. Here's what happened. We can't take the crowd on some kind of journey. We can't have this kind of storytelling. It'll confuse them. And it didn't confuse us. Now, people like me, I get fucking short attention span. I'm like, I don't want to do this long term, but I am enjoying this. And all jokes aside, I'm enjoying it. And this is Triple H allowing Bray Wyatt. The rumor is that WWE didn't even have a big hand in any of this.
Oh, okay.
That this was kind of orchestrated by Bray Wyatt. Okay. And this was the QR code was his idea, and people were like, well, will that work? And it obviously worked. Yeah. They obviously nailed this. And like I said, now we've got 5 mysteries. We're playing it's the WWE Scooby-Doo.
I mean, it was successful because right after I was like, who do you think that person is? Who do you think this is?
Now, right after I tell you that I'm not gonna chase these, I fucking started chasing them, right? Okay. So I found a rumor, or I found a news article that speaks WWE just filed a trademark for the name Uncle Harper. Well, that's gotta be Luke Harper, right? Yeah. That's Luke Harper. We're the Wyatt family, man. We're getting the band back together. That's Uncle exciting. Harper's coming home. Ooh. Is he the pig? Is he the buzzard? Is he the fiend? What is he? Is he a whole nother character? Could there be more? Here we go. We're going down another rabbit hole. Interesting enough, though, Lauren.
Okay.
They came out and said, contrary to what I believed and everybody believed, Bray Wyatt's on SmackDown.
Okay.
I mean, it just felt like he was coming to Raw. I felt like Raw needed you have all the titles are on SmackDown. You have Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns, all these people, and I guess Raw got Brock Lesnar. They got him back, so they felt like Bray Wyatt will fit, and I'm sure Bray's going to. At this point, the brand split is technically over, and guys can kind of straddle shows where they need to, whoever's being featured. But this begs the question, right? Bray Wyatt's back. He's got his creepy family, his cast of fucking Muppet babies. Who's his target? Who does he go after first?
Oh, that's a good question.
Drew McIntyre seems interesting, but like Drew's already kind of hit a low, and I don't think Karrion Kross and Drew are done. But is it Karrion Kross? Does Bray go after Karrion Kross? I don't know, right? Can you afford this early to attack Karrion Kross with a character bigger than Karrion Kross? I don't think that's good marketing.
Yeah.
Or is he going straight for the big dog? Is Bray going straight for Roman, which I think is the only thing that makes sense at this point.
It does. So
To me, that's the only place you can go with a return as big as Bray Wyatt in a group that is coming together with 6 members that are going to be strong. You have like the bloodline has to be where they go, right? Mm-hmm. If the bloodline already looks like it's crumbling from inside, a little bit of a push from a manipulator like Bray Wyatt seems like the way I would want to go if I was WWE. I would push them back. But this, to me, more than ever, is Triple H's opportunity to create the Undertaker 2.0. Where Vince McMahon fucked this all up and he fucked the Bray Wyatt character up. It's very rare in wrestling that you get a reset, right? You get a character who comes back and we've forgiven everything. We're not going to remember all the times that Bray Wyatt lost. We're not going to remember all that shit because this new comeback was such an epic deal that Bray feels bigger than he's ever felt, and he's really not. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't beat anybody. So this is an opportunity for Triple H to create a new Undertaker. So here's what I would tell Triple H. Be smart in how you use Bray Wyatt. Don't throw him into the ring every week. Don't do what AEW does and WWE does as well, and take your new guy, your new shiny toy, and beat him down and feature him every week. Let the Wyatt 6 do the wrestling. Let Bray manipulate. Let him talk. Let him be mystical. When Bray Wyatt wrestles, let it be special, and make him unbeatable. In a sense of like, don't force him into title pictures, right? Mm-hmm. If he goes after Roman, don't make it necessarily about the titles. Just make it about legacy. Make it about, I'm here to disrupt. And if they do this with the Bray Wyatt character, there's longevity. There's that Undertaker-esque. Every year when I went to WrestleMania, there was something about, the main event is The Rock and John Cena, right? The main event is Miz and John Cena, right? CM Punk's fighting Jericho. Those matches were always exciting. They were always fresh. But there's never anything like The Undertaker's fighting tonight. It's a spectacle. Cool. When we would take our kids to wrestling, you tell them, all this is cool, but wait till The Undertaker comes out. It's an event in itself. It's almost worth going to an event by itself to see. It made me kind of sad when we were at WrestleMania. We were like, this may be one of the last times we get this full entrance.
What's crazy is like in my wrestling career, I got to see The Undertaker get beat.
WrestleMania 30. Yes. We were there.
And that was the first time I'd really seen like his entrance, and I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I get it. But how could you? Super cool. How could you? That was me introducing you to wrestling in such a weird time to get introduced because to me, I understand the lore of The Undertaker, right? Never beaten at WrestleMania. This is a big deal. All of a sudden you come in, first big event, Undertaker gets beat. I've lost my shit. You were so mad at
me because I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, and you don't understand how fucking, you're just like, oh, the scary guy got beat by the big guy that I know from UFC. And it was like, no, this is a big deal.
And then to see him like do his farewell thing was crazy.
Yeah. So like, Bray Wyatt has the opportunity to do that. You know, like when the lights went off and the phones came out, there is a spectacle around Bray Wyatt that Triple H has to protect this time.
It's an effect that you get.
And you have to protect it. He doesn't have to always win, but you cannot use him to put other people over the way Vince McMahon did. Yeah. Bray Wyatt has to be protected this time. There is a longevity, and 10, 15 years from now, we could still be talking about and doing the whole Bray Wyatt thing. Yeah, I mean, just all of that. All the lantern is so synonymous with his character, and like they fucking nailed that return.
Yeah,
they nailed it. The door was creepy. It was epic. It felt Undertaker, but it didn't feel like we said copy and paste.
Yeah,
copy Undertaker, paste Undertaker. It felt like we were creating a new supernatural character in a time where I've complained that in this kind of reality era of wrestling, every wrestler is just supposed to look like some UFC guy.
Yeah.
Right? They go, well, this guy wears these colors. Or this guy, he kind of has this. But, like, there aren't a lot left, but we're getting more. I will say, Triple H, we're getting more because we're getting the Karrion Crosses, which are good. We're getting the Bray Wyatts. We're getting the Dexter Lumis, who may not have a supernatural character, but he's got a character, right? He's kind of fucking weird and creepy, which, by the way, you nailed it. That is a comedy bit.
I told you.
That is a comedy bit, which I guess, cool, awesome.
I like it.
Let's talk about the rumors from this week.
Right.
So the rumors this week are, there's a rumor going around. All of these rumors this week came from Zero News, Xero News. This guy, he's pretty spot on with the shit he does, but he takes a lot of shit on the internet. So
Really?
I'm going to talk about this for a minute. So these guys, there's insiders, right? These guys who...
Yes.
They've got some source somewhere behind the scenes that's feeding them information, and then they come report it for our enjoyment. And this guy Zero News looks to be growing, but he takes a lot of shit. But what I don't understand is, number one, these guys can't get everything right. It would spoil wrestling if they got everything right.
Yes.
And number two, don't follow him if you don't want things to be spoiled. And third, like, fucking chill out if he gets something wrong. It's not the end of the world, but he's been pretty spot on with a lot of the stuff that I read, and when he misses, and that's what it is. So all three of these rumors come from, if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's like Xero News on Twitter.
All right.
And he's got, it's like a lot of wild things that a lot of them come true, right? So his first thing he's talking about, and I've seen this in other places now, but he was the first to report it, was we're expecting a second women's evolution, which is exciting. That was fun. The first one was fun. And I don't know if you know exactly what the women's evolution was.
Kind of.
It was
when the pink belt came out?
No. So this was a women's only pay-per-view. And I think it was like headlined by Nikki Bella, but it's a women's only pay-per-view. I believe there was a tournament that kind of led up to it. And so, or the Mae Young tournament, whatever. I don't know the exact thing, but I do remember it's a women's only pay-per-view, and we're expecting a second one in 2023, which is fun, right?
Yeah.
We have two daughters, and the more that women can be featured in wrestling, the more they enjoy it. We have one daughter who swears she's going to grow up and be a professional wrestler. So the more they feature women, they're good role models, Bianca Belair and those people, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair,
Bailey.
The more they feature all these people, these women on television, the better.
Yeah.
And I'm all about a women's pay-per-view.
They've definitely built the storylines just since I've been watching. I've enjoyed it a lot lately.
So, I mean, more now than ever, I believe the women's roster is rivaling the men's as far as entertainment value. When you go like star for star and a casual audience. Now, I get the hardcores. They fucking want to shit on it. They don't, whatever, fuck you guys. That's not who I'm talking to. But from a casual point of view, like you go like Roman and Becky, right? You go like Bray Wyatt, Charlotte. You go like Drew McIntyre, Bianca Belair.
Yes.
The star power is there in the women's division that's there in the men's division. So an all women's pay-per-view is exciting, but we could just have more women's matches on the normal pay-per-views as well. But they've been doing well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock Triple H. Triple H's balance.
Been a good balance.
Yeah, Triple H's
honestly.
balance has been solid. I don't have any complaints there. This kind of plays into our first story, but there's a rumor going around that there's a pitch being made in the back for a Bloodline versus Wyatt 6 at the Survivor Series.
Oh, that could be so cool.
Man, you talk about just the culmination of like Wyatt and Roman, because you have two different kind of auras, right? You have the big dog, the head of the table, the unbeatable Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And then you have the manipulator. You have the creepiness of Bray Wyatt. And then that cast of characters behind them could be epic. I don't think we end up getting it. I really don't. Because it's also kind of being teased that we're going to get the Judgment Day versus the OC, which were the ones that returned, Luke Gallows. And,
yeah, I remember them.
Whatever his name is. They came back. So it's more likely that we're going to get the Judgment Day versus the OC. But man, a Bloodline versus Wyatt 6 Survivor Series match, like War Game style.
Yeah.
Could just be phenomenal. And I'll be excited if we get it. And
I think down the line somewhere we'll get that, right?
I keep saying this. I think the Bloodline, you're seeing the cracks. I think that, even if it runs through WrestleMania, there's not a lot of time left for this to happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It looks like Jay is being positioned almost out of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
So, all right. Last rumor here is WWE is interested in bringing 20 new talents in to spread across the three brands.
Okay.
That's a lot of
Including
turnover,
NXT?
man. That's SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. That's a lot of
Yeah.
So let's just go back 1 year from now. If you were watching wrestling 1 year from now and you jump forward 1 year, turnover is insane. If you were watching a year ago and you tune in today, it's almost unrecognizable with Candice LeRae, Dexter Lumis. You feature more Ciampa. The roster is definitely different. If you look on SmackDown, you've got the maximum male models. The roster's different. And to
Gunther.
talk about Gunther, all these people, talk about now we're going to bring in there's 20 new talent they're thinking about bringing in and spreading across these brands.
Yeah.
The roster's going to look very different a year from even now. And every time this happens, expect budget cuts. Expect some of the older, your favorite wrestlers, it might be their time to go, because what Triple H can't do, he can't do the AEW thing. He can't bloat the rosters.
Yeah.
You can't hoard all the talent. There's not enough space for all these people. So if this rumor turns out to be true and they have 20 talents in their sights to bring in across 3 brands, that's like what, 7, 8 people per 5, 10, 15, 6.5 people per brand. You can't, someone's going to have to go. Those spots are going to be.
Who do you think that it could be?
I'm not going to throw names out. I don't know who could get cut. I mean,
MVP.
MVP's he's a manager, not really a wrestler right now. All right, let's talk about Extreme Rules. Let me pull my belt out since I defended this at Extreme Rules. I'm not going to lie. There was a hot minute.
I thought I had it in the bag.
There was a hot minute during Extreme Rules where I thought I was done. It was when Ronda beat Liv, which we're going to talk about more in a little bit. We're going to get into that a little bit more. But when Ronda beat Liv, I thought I was done. I was like, man, I did not see that coming.
I definitely thought I had it.
I pulled back. You picked correctly Ronda, Bianca, and Karrion Kross. You lost on Rollins, Edge, and Imperium.
Yeah.
I called correctly Bianca, Riddle, Cross, and Finn Balor, which got me the win. We both were wrong at Imperium. I told you when the show started. I said, why the fuck did we pick Imperium?
I don't know.
Like, it was obvious that,
I like him.
No, I like him. I'm not talking about picking with my heart. I have no problem picking Imperium with my heart. But, like, and now I do remember after SmackDown, because we podcast before SmackDown, once Imperium and Gunther won the IC title and kept it, I knew, like, okay, the Brawling Brutes are going to win this match. But let's talk about Extreme Rules. Let's break down Extreme Rules a little bit. That'll be our topic of the week this week. Not a bad show. Not a bad show. And I've seen great reviews from a lot of people. A lot of people saying they loved it. I've seen overreactors saying it was the best pay-per-view of the Triple H era. I can't go that far. I'm not going to shit on it, but it felt messy to me. It felt like a messy pay-per-view. It felt like we always go, we want 10 matches with stipulations. And then afterwards I go, I don't need 10 matches with stipulations. Because the stipulations do get a little bit in the way of wrestling. The stipulations are fun because they get sprinkled in with everything else. And it felt to me, a little bit more like an AEW pay-per-view, whereas it featured a lot of big spots and not a lot of great wrestling, right?
Yeah.
It was like, here's a big moment. Bayley hits a ladder. Here's a big moment, Seth Rollins Riddle jumps off the cage.
Yes.
It was big spots with just kind of sketchy wrestling in between, which should be the formula that I love, right? Because I don't love the wrestling part of this, but I do see, like, sometimes when you talk about, like, gluttony, a little bit too much can be too much. And I felt like it was too much. I felt like it was a little messy. This is me being extremely nitpicky because I love SummerSlam. I love Clash at the Castle. I think Triple H has nailed it on every event. This was just possibly my least favorite so far. And that's not, I'm not knocking the event. Some people loved it, and I can understand 100% why people love this. But I can break it down kind of match by match for you. And that is that, like, Finn Balor and Edge, to me, possibly the best wrestling match of the night.
Really?
Through storytelling, through everything, that story has kind of come together. Still don't love Dominic. I still think Dominic is struggling in the heel position. I still think he's struggling to find personality, charisma, character, all of those things.
I was going to say he's struggling in every position.
Yeah, well, I mean...
he's not horrible, though.
No.
He has horrible character.
He's not horrible, but the problem is The problem is if you take LeBron James and you take Giannis Antetokounmpo and you take all these all-stars and then you place a young guy on that team, they get hidden. Rhea Ripley has looked amazing. Finn Balor has looked good. Damian Priest has looked good. Then you have Edge on the other side. You have Rey Mysterio, who's always going to look good. So Dominic is a little bit of a victim of just being surrounded by so much talent and talent that is breaking through. The Judgment Day has been good because when I look at the Judgment Day, there was a time I thought they were a little bit of a disappointment, right?
Yeah.
They lose, they're weird. But if you take them in a vacuum and you look at the Judgment Day, it has elevated all three of the original members.
Yes.
I look at Finn Balor. Now, maybe not Finn Balor as much because I always thought of Finn Balor as a big deal, but Finn has had a good run in the Judgment Day. I think Damian Priest has established a character because before the Judgment Day, he was like, he's supposed to be a little spooky and scary, but he was the United States champion and kind of, he didn't have a structure.
He always looked like the guy from the Indian in the cupboard to me.
Jesus. And then Rhea Ripley was someone who I think they had no fucking clue what to do with. Almost like China back in the day. It's almost like, well, we can't put her in the ring with a bunch of these girls because
she's just going to dominate
if
them.
you remember, there was the moment in time where it was Nikki Ash or Liv Morgan? Somebody was beating up on Rhea Ripley, and every week I was just like, what are we doing?
I believe it was Liv Morgan.
What are we doing? Why is Liv Morgan beating up Rhea Ripley? That's not real. That's not happening. Stop putting them in the ring together.
Yeah.
And now you've got Rhea Ripley in a spot where she's shining on the microphone. She's shining in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
She is a big deal. She's a major player on Monday Night Raw. So, like I said, overall in a vacuum, the Judgment Day has elevated these characters, and hopefully over time it does the same for Dominic. I just feel like, and I could be wrong, people can correct me if I'm wrong, when Dominic gets the microphone and he's getting that visceral booing reaction, it's not his heel work. It's still like go away heat. It's still like people just don't like Dominic.
I think so.
And so if he can turn that and make it work to his advantage, I said he's got to lay into it. He's got to bite back at the crowd and not timidly. He needs to just let loose and rip the crowd apart. We need, in the next couple weeks, we need a promo from Dominic Mysterio where we go, oh, I didn't know he could fucking do that.
He needs like an acting class or something because that's the problem. It's that his follow through on stuff.
I don't think I don't believe it. It's confidence.
Ooh.
I don't think he has go out there and just take a hot shit on the crowd. Just let it go. Let them fucking have it and see what happens. Yeah. They're gonna they'll begin to love you for being that asshole.
Yeah.
I still thought the Brutes and Imperium, every time they're in the ring, that's the best match.
That was my favorite match.
That was the best wrestling brutality.
It was the most extreme.
These guys open the show week in, week out and don't get, they get the credit. I see everybody talking about it, but like they just come in, they do their fucking job and they go home. Right? And it's just brutal. It's just physical. It is a style of wrestling I didn't know I liked that I love now. I like seeing these two behemoth gladiators just slap the shit out of each other for 15 minutes and one of them comes out on top. And the storytelling was good. I thought they got the story right. If Gunther was going to win on Friday, Sheamus had to win Saturday, and I don't think we're done. I think there's a lot more to this. And this is where I say AEW sometimes falls, right? There's more juice in the in the fruit. And AEW is like, we gave you the match you wanted to see. We're going to move on now.
Yeah.
No, let's keep doing this. Let these guys fight it out. And ultimately it's got to win with Sheamus winning the IC title. It has to.
I mean, I think so because that's the only one he has
it's
not
the only one he
had
hasn't won, and he has to win it because this has been epic, and he eventually has to get over. And it doesn't hurt Gunther because all we're doing is talking about how fucking great they are.
Yeah.
So at this point, it doesn't matter. Seth and Riddle, different. It was a different match. Weird pacing with no ropes. I know they tried to make it feel like an MMA match, but it felt sloppy. Daniel Cormier doesn't entirely look like he knew what was going on the entire time.
True.
I thought they tried to sell this idea that they were both getting physical with Cormier, but then that was it. It was one time each. I thought Cormier should have played a part in the finish of the match.
Yeah.
There should have been some mistake made. He should have bumped into somebody. There should have been more of a reason to have Daniel Cormier in there than there was. wasn't bad. The one big spot with Riddle jumping off the side of the cage to land on Rollins was phenomenal.
Yes.
Rollins tapping out is interesting.
It just wasn't as extreme as I thought it was going to be.
No, and it didn't feel like a UFC match. So what it felt like was this weird hybrid of...
It felt like, okay, guys, now it's time to go up to the second level.
Yeah, and then like the second... You almost see like... And we talked about this, and we're going to talk about this more when we get to specifically breaking down Ronda and Liv. But in this kind of protected WWE, because it's not really PG anymore, but it is still protected compared to AEW, Extreme Rules is a funny thing because it's like, this is Extreme Rules, just not like quite that extreme, right? Like there's nobody flying off the top of the cage like Mankind and Shane McMahon. We're not doing those kind of extreme things, but it's look, trust me, it's Extreme Rules. Someone's gonna get hit with a fucking kendo stick tonight. You know, it's like, oh, okay, that's the kind of Extreme Rules. It's like, you know, PG-13 Extreme Rules. So that's kind of what I felt about Seth and Riddle. It did what it did. Look, they knew what they had in their fucking back pocket. So they could end that show any way they wanted, right? They knew that when the fucking show goes off the air, Bray Wyatt's coming. We could put fucking a turd in the middle of the ring for the last match, and the crowd's gonna go home happy. So it's a get out of jail free. We can put anything we want in that last match spot because honestly, that match basically was forgotten the minute those lights turned off. And I told you this is a little bit also I want to go into about Extreme Rules. It felt a little messy to me because the whole night I was waiting for the reveal. They didn't do a good job of letting me enjoy. It should have been something like a timer, a countdown, or something. And I get that ruins the surprise a little bit, but I also spent the entire night going,
looking for stuff.
Still no fucking White Rabbit. Still no fucking right. We got down to the last match. I'm like, they're just not gonna fucking do it, are they? Then they fucking do it, of course, at the end.
So there's 30 minutes left. They definitely can't come out now.
That's what I said, and fucking nailed it. Bayley and Bianca. Perfect, solid, good match. They nailed it. The ladder match was great for them. I think they got it right with Bianca getting that moment over Bayley sitting on top of the ladder with her belt. No, I have no problem with that match. Cross and McIntyre. That was a weird match. It was a strap match, but the strap didn't really play a huge fucking part in it. It was really just there so those guys could slap the shit out of each other and show how fucking tough they are. Those guys are both fucking tough. They're getting hit with leather belt just over and over and over. Scarlett got involved and like we predicted, Karrion Kross got the win. No problems there. Just once again felt like that could have just been a match.
I agree.
And it'd have been fine. And you probably could have got some better spots than just, pulling on the damn strap.
I just imagine like, hey guys, how can we make this extreme? Let's give them belts.
I don't think you're wrong though. I think that, and it worked because I think there's a large portion of the crowd. I may be in the minority here and I have no problem with that liked Extreme Rules this way with a extreme stipulation in every match.
Well, I wanted it to be extreme, but like, actually extreme.
But that's not
so
WWE.
Like do something
anymore,
crazy with the
problem.
belts.
Yeah, but just they don't, when you can't get blood, and we're going to talk about that right now, when you can't get that extreme, and let's talk about it. So let's talk about Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Because this was the match I had the most anticipation for because we talked about it last week. This was Liv's moment.
Yeah.
This was Liv's moment to ascend. And she didn't even have to win, but she had to be better. And I don't feel like she was better. I feel like this was a bad match. And I feel like a lot of people are tiptoeing around this and not saying it because I see people who are like, oh, it was a B+ match. It was like an F. It was a bad match. That was a bad. If you go back and watch that, the first 5 minutes of that match were terrible. These like the threats of like getting the baseball bat and getting it taken away. What that match established for me in the first 5 minutes was Liv Morgan's not a credible threat. Even with weapons, she's not credible. So then it became, all right, this is going to be one of those like Hail Mary. Liv Morgan's going to have to hit some kind of wild moment in order to win, which she didn't.
True.
And it ended up just kind of with another, like a messy finish where it's one of those like, we need to read between the lines. She's smiling while she's tapping out, so we should be...
Which I didn't pick up on that at first. I thought like she just had like a dumb face. And then he's like, she's still smiling. And I was like...
And I get like this is leading somewhere, but once again... Ronda did this whole thing where she didn't need the title. She doesn't, and I get, yeah, we're building back probably towards Becky and Ronda.
Yeah.
That's where that's going. Cool. It's best for business. I got no problem because for the longest time I said Liv wasn't ready. You guys fucking yelled at me. Here it is. They take the belt off of her with Ronda, the same person she won it from. So what did we get? Like a 3-month title run.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I said it was going to be. I think back then I said, she's got 3 months. The clock starts now. She's got 3 months to prove herself. She didn't ever prove herself. And we are where we are. Now, here we go. She's got the inklings of a new character being built. And if she takes that and goes to the moon with it, that's great. But this was the moment for her to really ascend to the next level, and she didn't do it. Now, we got reports coming out that Ronda Rousey proposed a different finish to the match, that this is where we go, that if you can't really be extreme, how can you call it Extreme Rules? Ronda Rousey wanted the finish of the match to be similar, but with thumbtacks laid out in the ring.
Ooh.
So that when Liv picked her up and powerbombed her onto the thumbtacks, to get her shoulder off the mat, she would have had to push her other shoulder into the thumbtacks, which would have created this like, ugh. I think that would have gave us more of the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa vibes.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
But WWE's just, I think they go, we don't need that moment. We've got Bray Wyatt. We don't need to give you guys that moment. And that's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate that they go, we don't want the blood. We don't need that picture. We don't need Ronda Rousey. We don't need Liv. You guys will just be middle of the card.
Yeah.
And it's, it might be a little bit of a mess, but you guys don't need the big finish that people talk about. And I think that's unfortunate to me, because that is where the argument becomes made of WWE is the kids wrestling and AEW is the hardcore. Now I know AEW is trying to come back to the middle, but WWE might want to come to the middle as well. And yeah, you don't need to bleed all the time. But if some thumbtacks cause some blood, you might need to be okay with that. Because I think if they do that finish, my opinion of that match changes coming out of Extreme Rules. I don't go, oh, that was a turd.
Well, it was underwhelming, so.
The finish could have saved the mess that was the 10 minutes before that.
Yeah.
And with just a kind of standard finish, it was whatever. So, like I said, overall, Extreme Rules felt messy. It felt more like 6 individual matches with stipulations than a cohesive show where I'm excited through and through. I was kind of excited going into matches and then let down, and excited and a little bit let down. And that's okay. Not everyone's going to be a home run. I'm comparing it to the 2 previous extremely good premium live events from my point of view. Just thought it was a lot of high spots, low moments.
Yeah.
Big spots. There's a ladder and then some bad wrestling. Here's a baseball bat. Here's some bad wrestling. Here's a leather strap. Here's some messy storytelling. That was just my opinion. I've seen lots of people who like it, and I understand. So let's talk about quickly the Raw that followed up Extreme Rules.
Okay.
Is the bloodline collapsing in front of us?
I think so, yes.
I mean, I think we're official. And you know what? I fucking do this. Like every week I go, we're officially entering the chapter of the demise of the, like it has to be, right? Like the seeds are being set. Jay's kind of descending out of the bloodline. It looks like a little bit. Sammy is starting. He's trying to be the glue that holds it together, but just inadvertently interrupting Roman, becoming a little more like, got a little more cachet in there. So I think like we're entering the final chapter of the bloodline.
Yeah.
As we come in to WrestleMania season, I think we're entering the demise of the bloodline. And like, it's poetic, right? Because this has happened. This has been going on for so long. And we do look at this, and someone said this in the comments the other day. The problem with the bloodline is they just keep reinventing themselves. They keep adding people that make them interesting again. And I think every time that WWE's like, we can get rid of the bloodline, or we can start to cause a demise, Sammy pops up and they're big again. And Solo comes in and they're big again. Or the Usos do something. They have a hell of a match, and WWE looks at them and goes, what's the benefit in breaking them up?
Yeah.
And I still say, what's the benefit in breaking them up? But at some point, this has to end. We can't keep the titles all on one faction forever.
So could they stay together but just lose the titles?
I think so, but I feel like when Roman loses, it has to be a meltdown, right? It has to feel... When Roman loses the title, it just needs to feel like WWE's over, right? Like what happened? This is the end of an era and we're going into a new era and things like the Roman era, because this should be remembered as the Roman Reigns era of wrestling.
That would be cool.
And so I think when he loses it, it has to feel like a meltdown, right? The bloodline have to disintegrate and there has to be dissension. And I think for Roman to lose it, they have to have already kind of, you know, like the Usos have to turn their back on Roman.
Yeah.
Or something to that nature.
I think, I don't know if I'm not saying this yet. I think that Sammy is going to be the problem.
I think that's too obvious. I think it's going to be Solo or somebody.
Really?
So it's going to, yeah.
Well, I think somebody's going to stand up for Sammy. Like, there's going to be friction because of him between,
True.
what is it, Jay?
Yeah.
And that he's going to get pissed off, and then that's just going to make everything fall.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's my prediction.
So weirdly, we got Gargano versus Theory,
I did see that.
which to me, I thought they were building to something there. And it's almost like it was like, all right,
letdown.
cool. Let's just get that over with. Let's get it over, get it out of the way. Or is it building to something? Is there going to be another match or another series? And could we possibly, for the first time, see like Gargano challenge Theory for the Money in the Bank briefcase?
Oh.
Because it feels like to me that Triple H and WWE may not want that briefcase on
Theory.
on Theory right now. That he just may not be ready. And the love seems to be going to Gargano. Or is this the thing that gets Theory kind of back on track, right? Is that he kind of overcomes this Gargano problem. I think that'll be interesting to watch out for. Brock is back.
I know.
It was 3 months ago that we were saying Brock may be done forever. And here he is.
Well,
Brock just shows up when the fuck Brock wants to show up. Doesn't really need a rhyme or reason. Doesn't have to say much. He's not even back for Roman. Now he's back for Bobby Lashley. Mm-hmm. They got the belt off of Bobby Lashley. Smart. That match doesn't need a fucking United States Championship to sell me on it. This is two grown fucking men. Mm-hmm. Hey man, this is where when I talk about AEW, this is the men and the boys. Okay. This isn't fucking Adam Cole versus fucking Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
This isn't 5'9" versus 5'9", 165. This isn't the bantamweight title. This is two grown fucking men
They're
getting
big
in the
guys.
ring. This is grown man business.
Yep.
This is fucking 6'3", 6'4", fucking could just squash your head in their hand. This is gladiator fighting. This is what I'm all fucking. This is the difference. This is fucking wrestling. This is what makes fucking wrestling and makes it a spectacle. You can sprinkle in the little boys, but these are grown fucking men. These are the grown fucking men, right? And then last but not least, where the fuck is Kevin Owens and Ciampa? Where the fuck? Like,
I don't know.
oh, they were fucking like they both were trending upwards, and now they're missing. I want hashtag where's KO and hashtag where's Ciampa fucking going around the internet, because where the fuck did Ciampa go? I know we're worried about The Miz, but where the fuck did Ciampa go?
I don't know.
Nobody's like, 1 minute he's Miz's right hand man. He's got a fucking glitter card and wearing neon green. He's fucking gone. He's just gone.
Yeah.
Ciampa's just gone. And nobody's asking questions.
They're not addressing it at all.
Corey Graves, please. Corey Graves is the only one who fucking has half a brain to fucking know that Dexter Lumis is a psychopath. Corey Graves, check on Ciampa for me, please. Check on Ciampa, Corey. Please go check on Ciampa and let me know. We wellness check for Ciampa. Hashtag wellness check for Ciampa, please. I don't know where the fuck he is.
And that's 4 with the number 4.
One question to throw out there. This is for anybody who wants to answer it in the comments. You can answer it too as well.
Okay.
Just, it was a random thought I had. Who are the most important superstars on Raw and SmackDown right now? Who's most important to the show? Who, when you turn the TV on, who is still drawing you in to watch right now?
Guys and girls, or either
Could be either. Like what it was funny to me because I think right now we're experiencing a little bit of a balance across the roster, right? Normally you go like there's two guys. There's one guy here, and I watch the show for those people, and then everything else that happens. But right now, to me, it does feel like a little bit of like the peaks and valleys are starting to shorten, and it's flattening out. And I wanted to know like what is it you turn on the TV for?
So I'm not going to go brand specific, but I'm just going to name the people.
That's fine.
Like so Bailey, Io Sky, that whole group right there.
Interesting. Damage Control.
Really, really enjoy them.
Okay.
Then Gunther.
Interesting.
I like Gunther. I like the
Interesting.
Gunther and Sheamus thing, and it blows my mind because I'm such a flip-flopper because I used to hate Sheamus, but because he was boring then.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
so
The way that they booked him was boring, I should say.
you started watching again right in the middle of the like
Sheamus,
Cesaro, Sheamus
Cesaro.
every week for 20 weeks because we don't know what to do with those guys and they work well together. So
Yeah.
I will admit, like, you didn't get to see any of the good Sheamus, and that's why I want you to go back and watch some of these old matches with me.
No, for
we'll,
sure.
we'll pull up some Sheamus shit where I can show you he was a big deal. He was WWE champion, big deal.
Yeah.
With John Cena and stuff like that. So we'll go back and watch some of that.
Sami Zayn
He's on my list.
and Drew McIntyre.
Not on my list. Interesting. So, prime example. We didn't talk about this beforehand. I threw this at you right now.
Okay.
I think that's a prime example of what I'm talking about right now. This line balancing out. You
Yeah.
just named almost nobody except Sami Zayn on my list of why I'm watching. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt. That's my list.
Yeah.
That's why I turned the TV on. And maybe now LA Knight. Like, I'm excited to see LA Knight.
Definitely Bray Wyatt now, but I mean, I wasn't watching because of him.
No, but I would say that like tonight, SmackDown, I'm excited for what is going to happen with Bray Wyatt. What are we going to learn? What is going to happen with Sami Zayn, right? Those two. I'm looking forward to SmackDown for that. When I turn on Raw, I know we have hashtag Where's KO, but I'm looking forward to how are we building Kevin Owens. I'm looking forward to now what does Seth Rollins do with the United States title? Because they obviously listened to me when I said a couple weeks ago, Triple H, that you had to make that title feel like the big title. And that's what he did, right? He's essentially, we talk and we used to go, that's the mid-card title, but he's basically saying that's the world title right now on Monday Night Raw. And it looks like a world title. Why can't it feel like a world title? I feel like that's what he's doing by putting it on Bobby Lashley, then putting it on Seth Rollins. He's essentially turned that in to a world title. And I think we could see another mid-card title introduced in the men and women's division. I believe that may be where we're headed. We might get a European title on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
That is like almost having two high mid-card titles. And then I do think we get a women's mid-card title coming up.
That would be interesting.
Just a little side topic I thought was interesting. I wanted to talk to you about. This isn't
Hit me
really well, just Sonya Deville joining or seemingly joining Toxic Attraction. I did read more into this. Unfortunately, it was some bad news. Mandy Rose's brother died, and I didn't know about that.
Oh, that's sad.
So I think Sonya might have just been filling in
Yeah.
to kind of alleviate whatever stress was being caused by her not being able to be on NXT. But fucking go run with this. This is
I think
great.
that'd be gold, man.
We were talking about this we were walking around yesterday.
Yeah.
WWE needs to cycle, not as punishment and not even as necessarily
A demotion or anything like that.
They should cycle guys and girls who aren't being used on the main roster into NXT. It causes me, I have a love-hate with NXT. I watch it when I have the time, and when I don't, I could give two fucks if I miss it.
Yes.
And that's a problem, right? Because I'll never be a avid, loyal NXT fan. What I'll be is somebody who turns it on when I can. But when I get names like Sonya Deville, people I like that I know right now, there's no place for her in the main roster, right? The title scene's kind of set. There's not a lot of storylines for secondary female characters right now that are outside of like Liv and Ronda and some of those people. Charlotte's coming back. So when you cycle these characters down, it gives me a reason to go watch. I even think like I've heard the rumors of Bayley going to NXT.
That could be interesting.
It could be a lot of fun if she took Damage Control down to NXT for a little bit.
What about Damage Control versus
Toxic Attraction? It's perfect, right? It's 3 or 4 months of programming, and it shouldn't be seen as a demotion. It should just be seen as a way when you bring down the big names and we watch the big names, then we learn the smaller names, and then the smaller names come to the top. It's kind of the circle of life of wrestling.
Yeah.
And it should be done. It's being done a little bit, but I think it should be done even more, right? You should just have these guys kind of rotate in and out of programs to get
Definitely.
eyes onto other products.
That definitely makes sense.
All right, let's talk about our wrestling fantasy league because we had a draft this week. Let's
We
talk
did.
about our league first. Real
Okay.
quick. I don't even know that I checked the score for ours, so we won't talk about ours this week. We'll talk
I
about
didn't
ours
check it either
next
because
week.
I was more worried about the
I
other
am
one.
too. I'm more worried about our new league, which I'm excited about, and that is I'm in last place,
I did see that. Guess what place I'm in?
third place right now. Fairly enough, this was one Monday Night Raw, and my roster is very SmackDown heavy.
Okay,
so what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a second to look at some of these teams that were selected, because first off, we set the draft.
Yes.
Set the draft. I told you about it. I set a reminder on my phone, and then we decided Sunday to go to SeaWorld.
We did.
Yeah, we're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
We'll go to SeaWorld for Halloween. We'll take the kids.
Go to some haunted
And
houses.
right in the middle of walking past a zombie that tried to jump out and fucking scare the shit out of me,
Yes.
I get an alert that the draft is starting.
I love how you didn't text me, though, to let me know that the draft
Well,
was
that's
starting.
competitive advantage. I told you what time it started, right? So I'm fucking fighting off zombies and swamp creatures at SeaWorld, trying to make my selections, can't find half the people I'm looking for, and I end up with a half-ass put-together roster that I'm okay with, but like I'm definitely not. And I know I
That's not the
noticed a
easy.
bunch of people didn't make it to the draft. Season 1 is going to be a mess for everybody, and that's what it should be. Season 1 should be a fucking nightmare. I see free agents moving around and people picking up and dropping, and so season 1, everybody, guys, it's gonna be a mess for everybody. We didn't get to draft what we wanted.
No, like I got there and you're like, oh, by the way, the draft has started.
I said
and
you're
we were
on your
like
third
3
pick.
deep.
But you were in a haunted house.
Yeah.
I couldn't get to you. There was no reception in the swamp where
You
I
know what?
was.
I got some pretty good people.
You did. Okay, so let's talk about some of these teams. Let's quickly talk about some of these teams.
Yeah.
So 3 VLG, who's currently in first place with 70 points, got a squad. It's got a squad. And I'm gonna throw out some things here. Y'all take my advice or don't take my advice, because I've been doing this for a little while on this here. Seth Rollins, fucking solid choice. 65 points. Come on, man. Can't beat that. Alexa Bliss will turn out to be solid. That's a
Yes.
long play. Becky Lynch, if she comes back, right now you're looking at 0 points until she comes back. But if she comes back, that's a steal. Theory, hit or miss, right? We talked about it. He could be, he might not be. And then Paul Heyman, I'm going to tell you, buddy, I don't know that Paul Heyman's going to score you many points. If you can't win a match, you don't score many points. I get he's on TV a lot and he talks,
But you don't get much points.
those 5 and 6 points aren't going to do it for you, right? Nah. Ocasio here, 1592, got Rey Mysterio, solid choice. Miz, solid choice. Kevin Owens, when he finally gets going again, solid choice. Sheamus, solid choice. That's a squad, right?
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali, I don't remember the last time he won a match.
No.
Once again, like everybody's got 4 solids and then one that I go, oh, that was at the end of the draft. And these are all usually 5th picks or free agent pickups.
Yeah.
You got Riddle, Sky, Butch, LA Knight. Told you got to get rid of Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
She's
I
hurt.
haven't fucking done it yet.
There's no point.
I need to do it.
Breezy72, who's in 4th place, has Omos, Otis, Damian Priest. Breezy, you like big boys. No, I don't mean that in another way. There's a lot of size on the Angelo Dawkins. There's a lot of size on that squad. And then Montez Ford. Hey man, last time we saw him, his foot was in a boot.
Yep.
You guys are taking some long shots here, and I like it. I like this idea that people are taking
live
some
life
risks.
dangerously, bro. You never know.
Number 5, Alex the Pants, 32 points. Candice LeRae, solid choice. Rhea Ripley, solid choice. Bianca Belair, solid choice. 3 females, 3 solid picks there. Picked up Brock Lesnar. Here's the deal about Brock, guys. If he shows up, he's great. If he takes 3 or 4 weeks off, he doesn't get you any fucking points. Brock is hit and miss. It's weird that you want these big names, but guys like Roman and Brock don't score that much. Luke Gallows, that was a steal on a free agent pickup there that this Alex got. B Master 84, 23 points in week 1, number 6 currently. Roman Reigns, 16 points, but you got to be careful, man. When Roman shows up, there's points. When he doesn't, you're not going to get anything.
Exactly.
Jimmy Uso, the Usos have been solid for me in the other league. Ashanti Adonis, sleeper pick. I got top dollar. Hit Row doesn't lose.
True.
They don't lose, so that's
So
a
if I get
solid.
the girl, does that count?
She doesn't wrestle, and I don't think she counts as in the match.
doesn't get points?
No, she doesn't get points. It's
Bullshit.
unfortunate. Edge, solid choice. Gigi Dolan, guys. I don't know if I made this clear. NXT people don't score points.
I didn't know that we could pull NXT people.
So some of it, because they've appeared on Raw and SmackDown, they are available and because they could get moved up. But what they do on NXT will not score you points in this league.
Okay.
There is a separate way to set up an NXT league if we want to do that eventually.
Yeah.
But right now, the only thing that scores points is Raw, SmackDown, and Premium Live Events.
All right.
That's it. LGRSM had Bobby Lashley, solid choice. Dakota Kai, solid choice.
Yeah.
Asuka, interesting. We'll see. She's been missing because she's injured. Cody Rhodes, that's playing the long game.
Yeah.
It's playing the long game.
Himself.
If he doesn't come back till January, you're not going to score many points. And then Ridge Holland is a solid. That's a solid like late round pick. He got Ridge Holland in the second round. That's interesting. You know something I don't know there. Number 8, D. Cole, 20 points. Let's see. Johnny Gargano, solid choice.
Good choice, yeah.
Bray Wyatt, fuck you. You got the steal of the draft there. I tried during the draft to find Bray Wyatt. Could not find him.
I didn't see him on there either.
I think he got added the next day.
That's bullshit.
And so D. Cole picked him up in free agency, which is a
D. Cole was watching that like a
solid
hawk.
pick. Giovanni Vinci, solid.
And
Imperium.
Giovanni Vinci.
Ronda Rousey, solid. She's champion. She's going to score some points. Logan Paul, once again, you
I
guys.
had Logan. He sucked for me.
You guys are taking long shots. Logan's just not there enough to score you enough points.
That's what happened.
Putting him as your 5th person on your roster, I understand. But like sometimes it's going to come down to those little like dink and dunk points. And when they're not there, you just know you're not getting the points.
Definitely the dink and dunk.
Number 9, Super Kick Me, 16 points. Bailey, solid. AJ Styles, solid. Ciampa, hashtag where the fuck's Ciampa?
Yep.
Hashtag wellness check for Ciampa. Madcap Moss. Like there was a point in time that was solid, but he talk about a guy that just
Disappeared.
fell the fuck off the map. I just think they got to figure out what to do with him. Raquel Rodriguez is a solid choice. It will pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
So that's a solid team. That's a sleeper team. When I look at that team, that's a team that could easily skyrocket to the top. If Ciampa fucking is found, okay.
I'm
and
sure they
alive.
are.
Number 10's Big A, 16 points. Dominic Mysterio, hate him, but it's not a bad choice. He's on TV a lot, and he's going to get time with all this Rey Mysterio stuff. Sami Zayn, love it. MVP, okay. Like, all right. Like, that's a long shot. He doesn't wrestle much. Chad Gable, he's on TV every week. He loses a lot, but it's a solid choice. And then I had said Ludwig Kaiser is a sleeper choice. I think he will pay off in the end run.
Okay.
Our boy Snuggles.
Snuggled.
He's in at number 11, 13 points. Jey Uso, solid. Gunther, solid. Happy Corbin, he's coming back. Solid. Liv Morgan. Unfortunately for like me and in our other league, Liv Morgan lost the title. I don't know what her value is.
I don't know.
Like it was great value when you drafted, but like, I don't know.
They might have big plans for her though. So
Hopefully,
who knows?
maybe she part Wyatt 6 and she got a new character build. I hope she ends up being solid, but to me that's scary. Then he's got Braun Breaker. I don't know, man. I don't know that Braun Breaker's going to score points in this league. If the NXT stuff doesn't count, if he gets moved up, he will. But I just don't foresee in the next through the holiday season because this runs through like January. I don't see Braun Breaker. So that's that's a long shot there. King Boast got 12 points. Solo Sikoa is a super solid choice because he's appearing on TV every night. Braun Strowman never loses. Karrion Kross, solid. King Woods, solid. Scarlett.
That was one of the sleepers in our other.
But Scarlett, you guys, I don't, and I'm in last place. Take what the fuck I say with a grain of salt, right? I'm just here talking shit because I get to see all this stuff. But Scarlett, what is the upside on Scarlett? How many points can she really score? She interferes in a match. She gets 5 points, 6 points. So you're really capped off. And like you said, she doesn't talk. So she's not going to get any microphone points. Then we go to the team that's obviously going to win this. Coming in at last place, but just like last place because I don't want to get off to the races and discourage everybody from the league. I have 2 points. Okay. Finn Balor got me a fat 2 points. But I got Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, Top Dollar. Hey, man, Hit Row doesn't lose. And I got Shotzi as my long shot.
Yeah.
They gave her the tank back.
Well, and tonight is SmackDown, you said. So we'll really see.
My roster is SmackDown heavy.
Yeah.
I got four SmackDowns, but so does King Boast. I mean, it looks like a lot of people have a lot of SmackDown. SmackDown is the superstar heavy show.
Yes.
So, all right. So this is fun. We're now off to the races.
I'm excited.
Now, I'm going to say, like I preface to you, that was not a fair symbol of what this league is after one Monday Night Raw. This is going to change tonight. Like, I'm not going to be in last place after tonight. Drew McIntyre is going to do something. I hope Kofi does something. Top Dollar is going to do something.
This was
Shotzi should do something.
Because there were so many people, and like we weren't superstar heavy. And you got to choose.
We'll build this up. This is going to grow and grow. I told you, though, when we started, everybody jumped in and said they wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. But these were the 13 faithful that came through. And now we're about to have fun. And I didn't know we were going to have a little message board at the bottom. And I expect some shit talking to start.
I didn't know either. So I'll have to go look
now that I see this, I expect some shit talking to come in here. Because we got some people in here having some conversations. And it might, let's keep it friendly. But I expect a little shit talking down there. Like, let's get it going. Hey. Top Dollar has a good night tonight. I might go off in the comment section.
All right. Well,
I might fucking let it go. All right. You got anything else to talk about?
No.
Let me see. I had, did just have a quick note for our league. Mm-hmm. After I saw, I believe it was D. Cole.
Yeah.
Pick up Bray Wyatt. Okay. I picked him up in our league.
Oh, fuck you.
So just so you know, in our league, I did pick up Bray Wyatt.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of the CWC Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to tune in every week, either on YouTube or Spotify, and please leave us a comment on the episode. Also, make sure to follow us on TikTok if you already don't. Just search Notorious Nerdy D. As always, I am Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up Lauren, and starting November 1st, we will have season 1 of the Casual Wrestling Community content where I go live every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. United States Central Time to talk about the news. As always, Lauren, you can ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
Step in the ring. If you ready, let's go. Hey, Casual Wrestling Community Show. You already know. Talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be sure that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg.